Correct.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I had a chance to look at the agenda. Any additions, corrections, or conflicts of interest? If not, the agenda will stand approved as printed. Move on to the reading of the minutes.
May 12th, 2026. Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Craig Dozark, Chair presiding, members present, Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. Motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hayden to approve. Oh, sorry, too many. Never mind. To approve of not having a board meeting Tuesday, July 21st, opening day of the fair. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Rosberg, to approve adding voluntary insurance lines through the Hartford, including hospital indemnity, critical illness, and accident coverage. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly seconded, the board adjourned at 10:19 a.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting.
Might have been the shortest reading of minutes we've had in a while.
I missed the bad one, didn't I?
Where'd it
Should have been out of here.
go? Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Not, they'll stand approved as read and printed. Move on to supervisor reports. Kyle.
Well, not a lot going on last week. At least it didn't seem like. Anyway. Yeah, yes, center meeting Friday, this coming Friday in Cherokee. Interesting fact, they did have a law passed that the equal pay for detention centers, but they had some legal research done to it. Now it won't start until fiscal year 27. I don't know what, I understand that you would have thought it would have started July 1, but the legal scholars are saying this equalization pay won't start until fiscal year 27.
These contracts in place.
Well, because expenses occurred is what they're saying, which I'm still trying to, Cheryl sent an email out to all of us, trying to figure our way in on it, but.
Fiscal year 27 does start July
Or
1st.
28, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah, no, I was kind of confused today, but I'm trying, well, really, I don't know why it would. Your expenses are always gonna be, I don't know what the difference is when it starts. Is what I'm trying to figure out why they have to put it out here, but oh, they asked some attorneys from Polk County or what, but so we're gonna, I don't know. So that's gonna be another year out apparently, but anyways, that it needed to be done, so we'll just have to wait another year apparently doing that. Disappointed at that. And the other thing I was thinking, do we as a board need to take a look at how comp time that getting towards the end of the year and departments we should get them paid out or see if we can afford to pay them out, or is that something we want to look at on the agenda for next week, or I don't know where we're at.
Don't we usually kind of look at that to make sure we're not carrying more than 40 over? Or is that-
And we've always said we're going to.
Does every department head, Terry, keep track of that?
Supposed
We're
to.
supposed to.
Okay.
Terry, is it hard to kind of just do a short report of where we're at?
Nope, you can run a report.
See where they're at?
So you can run a report for every employee?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Should we put it on the
You keep
agenda
track.
and then use that as our kind of,
Okay.
if we have,
If they're
Things that
reporting
will-
things, if we want to address anything.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So Kyle, I was just going to ask you on I sent out that email concerning the sanitation and who serves currently with Eileen. Are those people willing to serve again, or can you ask them?
I will ask him, yeah. I will serve again. I'll ask Eileen and Jay if they're willing to serve again.
I might kind of mention to Terry that at least if they give you a week to contact them, then we'd have it on the agenda next Tuesday, because it has to be done in May.
Are they members that, contribute and come and all those good things
Oh,
that we
yeah.
look for?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Jay and Eileen are always.
great, yeah. Didn't
I
even
think
think
Jay
about it.
mentioned last year it might be his last, but
I think he's been mentioning that since I've been on, but
yeah, that's possible.
yeah, but he might, you're truly right. I will get that nailed down,
Okay,
so.
perfect. Anything else?
No.
Any questions for Kyle? Hey,
Perfect. I can segue right into that. I actually had Scott Johnson call me last week. He was pretty excited. Of course, they hired a new director at their landfill in Carroll.
All right.
But they did a tour of all the transfer stations that they received from. And he had very good things to say about ours. He said just the way it runs and meeting with them and how everything was kept up and looked nice. And we have really good things.
Scott Johnson is,
Carroll County Supervisor.
okay, all right, that's right.
Did you mention that Story County or the city of Ames is gonna start transferring all their to Carroll County?
Talk about a little bit, they're looking at taking on some more.
Well, they lost. Is that a money maker for them?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I think that.
They're probably trying to figure out how to pay the bills next year
Their
too.
landfill. Opening up a few more cells.
Mhm.
Well, alternative sources of revenue. There you go, sir.
But he was very impressed with our transfer station. They run very well. And I said, well, I give really credit to Colin and the board and the people that are working up there.
But I mean, when you don't personally run those things or personally know how they operate, to have someone that does come in and say, hey, yours
Thank
is running
you.
really well.
That was you. That was-
Oh, hey, that's good.
It seems like they got a very aggressive person they hired for that director spot in Carroll.
Oh,
I'm pretty happy with him. So that was a good call. Nice to hear those things. But also, I've just been kind of a slower week, but I keep checking on the bridge down in my area. They keep chugging away. The rain probably slowed them down a little bit, but that keeps gaining. And otherwise, it was graduation week, so I was attending a few graduation parties, and that's about it.
okay. Gee,
It seemed like a very short week. We had our Friday meeting for the Northwest Early Childhood Area. They're known as NECA.
So
Remember
it's been
that?
called now, and you said it.
Yes, the Northwest Early Childhood Area. There's 11 counties. And so the meetings they go pretty fast. They seem productive. Dawn and Annette kind of take turns presenting different things, but we've got our coordination and contract agreements and things like that, because we have to redo everything that the different areas had. Funding, they're gonna need to have a budget in Iowa grants by June 1st, so they're really scrambling to get all those applications in. They've got 27 draft allocation amounts. We have to review those. Core contracts are all in process, so they've really hit the ground running. I guess we won't go through all of it, but they seem to know what needs to be done, and Annette and Dawn seem to be doing a very good job. They decide which insurance plan the whole area needed to go with, because different counties had different, your agent of record and all those things are being looked at.
Who's gonna be the new fiscal agent, or will it stay the same?
I think probably BV thing, but that's still a little bit, it's not been approved, let's just put it that way, but that was recommended. So I have another one of those on Friday. Kim, have you talked to Kim about the line item for the money that they're gonna have left over? Is that set up and ready to go?
No, it's not set up and ready to go.
Do you need anything from our board to like
Nothing.
nothing? Will it be
I'll need
ready?
it from this board.
Oh, so Because
We need to approve that.
Because they're
fund to
not
be
in charge of
created.
the budget,
Okay.
you are.
We
Okay,
need to be, approve that fund to be created.
Right,
okay,
because it'll be a new fund.
okay. So should we get that on the agenda because
We will try
they're
to,
going to
yes.
be having
I'm
some,
kind of busy, but yeah, I'll work on
I
it.
get it. There's
Yep.
no, as long as we're ready by the end, that's.
How much carryover they have to put into that fund?
We're still kind of a couple 100,000 possibly, between 200 and 250. Some things still in the works, but that's what we're hoping for, so just as long as we have that. So let's see, this is May, yeah, boy, time's going by really fast.
Do you think that they are able to do that this year because of increased revenue
Little of both.
or a little both?
A little of both. In the budget previously, they always had money set aside for some things that they don't. Revenue is big. They're doing a little bit better. So a combination of all of the above, and that's why there's still some question marks on that. But they're working really hard to keep the cost of everything down. And
What do you think the main revenue generator is? Hospice.
The other departments, I don't, there used to be that hole in the dam. I think they're kind of figuring out where that's at and making that hole a little bit bigger for us too. So everybody seems to be working very well together, and they all have the same mission to get the job done and to cut the waste if there is any. So, yeah, so I had that, but I'll have West Central this week and another meeting for early childhood area. So, but the week went by really fast. I have to get with that. All right.
Any questions for Dean? I'll just add, we had a Wesco meeting yesterday at noon. And I guess I want to say highlights, but I mentioned a month ago that the bake shop is changing as far as its hours and its menu. And because they're going to have increased hours available, they're going to be hired. They have 15 people that are currently clients of Wesco that are going to be employees at the bake shop. So that's a significant portion that's going to be Wesco clients that will be working there. I mentioned also, as far as the foundation hiring a director and grant writer, they had 2 interviews. Clay said neither one went well. So they have a third scheduled, I think, this week. And he said there is someone else, like I mentioned before, that they thought there might have to be a remote person working remotely in that position, just because it's hard to find someone like that in Denison or to get them to move to Denison. So I guess they do have a candidate that would be that, and that's a different person they're going to interview if this doesn't go well this week. I will just also add, I guess you should be aware that effective July 1, I'm going to be the new president of the Wesco board.
Hey,
Bill Bruce is staying on, but we decided just to do a rotation. And so I'm going to move up from vice president. Kara Webb's going to move to VP. She's our current secretary, I believe. So that's really about it. Wesco had another profitable month. That's 3 profitable months in a row from their start that was much in the red. They've kind of turned things around.
good.
And so that's encouraging. They're looking at May also being a positive month. And they're continuing to look at an additional house to purchase. So we'll see how that goes. They're currently in negotiations.
Craig, is the bake shop more profitable in the summer months than winter
The bake shop is not profitable.
at all?
So it'll be interesting when we change the menu and change the hours to be open 7 days a week, open at 7 a.m. I think they're planning on closing at 2 p.m. They're looking at hiring someone to run the event center for them. We're getting a lot of interest in the event center, and it's something that Wesco really hasn't publicized yet. And so they've got someone involved that they're going to have to run that and kind of be the scheduling person for the bake shop itself. Bake shop and cafe. If you notice, the sign kind of changed a little bit. We kind of have something I suggested to them that people, one, parking is an issue because we've been told that people that drive by, they see that the parking lot's full, and so they're like, man, we must be packed all the time. And it's not, we just have too small a parking lot for what they have for
We do have that.
capacity inside. And so we need to continue. We've had discussions before with Farm Service Co-op and, to the south of the bake shop, where they kind of store some equipment, they store some creep feeders and that sort of stuff. The creep feeders will be going out probably this month. So that space may be available, and just something that we need to go negotiate. We need to have more parking, and it's hard to find more parking when it's enclosed like that.
Yeah. I will say that we had our graduation down there.
Oh, okay.
And it was lovely, and it worked out just fine, because if we had our lemonade and our punch, but if somebody wanted another drink other than that, they could go into the bake shop. And so I think we kept it very busy most of the day for you. So,
Okay.
yeah, but it was very lovely. It was perfect, and we were glad to have it down here. And parking was a little bit of a problem.
Right.
So, yeah, I get that. I parked over at Wesco and then walked
Right down the alley.
right down the alley,
Right.
right past the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
But that's a little far for people.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
that was exciting. But it's lovely in there. And they were very helpful, and
It is a really nice building there.
What's that?
It is a really nice building.
Yeah. They must have put a lot of money in it. Hi.
that's all I can say.
Oh, thank you.
You know, lots of time, stop it.
No, that's what I mean. I got a little fill time. Emergency Management Commission meeting last week. We had a lot on our agenda, but most of it was actually going over and approving emergency support functions, recovery support functions, all the kind of things that he's supposed to have in his SOP or SOPs that he's got to have. He's just, whenever he's not out surveying tornado or hail damage, he's working on stuff. So he stays pretty busy down there. That's the MCI protocol. And these acronyms, they come and go in my head, so I mean, please don't ask. I'd have to look it up. We talked about the new building addition, reviewed quotes, and we took one up, and it was a local, really good price. I thought, I don't have that exact numbers in front of me. I can get them for you if you'd like. I was chairing, so it's hard to take notes and keep everything running orderly. That ain't hard, but I get distracted. Anyway, there was a purchase, or he's wanting to purchase some stuff for hazmat, just wanted approval of the board. Just, I've told him, whenever you got something that's gonna be $2,500 or more, you got room to spend it, but it never hurts if you don't have a time press situation that you gotta buy something, just run it by the commission when we have our meeting. And he's doing a great job at doing those kind of things. Just, basically got a checks and balance system. And so I think he's doing a pretty good job on that. So he ran that by us. That was just different equipment that we need for hazmat suits in particular, and they're not cheap. But,
So do we currently not have them, or do they?
well, they've got some
outdated,
stuff.
or do they?
Well, that's it. They expire. Here's the biggest problem we're having. The Tri-City is at best a dysfunctional thing, or Tri-County, sorry. The Tri-County organization for hazmat, it's kind of dysfunctional. And it sounds like who's the president is not very well organized or even liked, for that matter. And some of it sounds. I don't know him. I don't know anything about what's going. So, I mean, they don't like what he's, how he organizes things. I mean, I'm not talking about it personally, and maybe that's too, but I don't know that. But, so we have things there, but now they're shared with other counties, obviously. So, I mean, what's ours, what's theirs? Zach's gonna be looking into that, so we can, acquire that. We still want to be able to help these other counties and them help with us, but do it on, everybody has their own teams. Because we really don't have a team that you can call and have a ready response. There's some guys that probably would jump, but.
If every county in the Tri-County has their own EMS person, is there a point to have the Tri-County, or?
Well, just to, you generally don't have a ton of techs. I mean, it's kind of like being an EMT. There's more training to it. Hazmat tech, to be a technician is the highest level of hazmat response. And it takes a little more training. It's not terribly hard, and it's not as time consuming as EMT. I shouldn't compare it to that. But it does take more, so you don't have as many of them. And it's just like anything else. You can have 20 firemen, but how many show up regular? On average, 9. And of them, some of them might be out of town today. So I mean, that's why I think that if you had a hazmat county team, and then each county had their own team, you'd probably stand a better, 2080, where everybody's got their own. I don't know. That's seems to me that we'd be better served if we had that going for us. And so that's what we're kind of working through now. But Zach's working on that with the other EMA coordinators and then the hazmat team itself. So I'm trying to figure out what supplies might belong to us or how to divide things up equally. You can't get any information on it down there. It sounds like it's hard to pry it out what's going on here. So work in progress. Okay. Let's see. West Side Outdoor Siren, their sirens kind of toast. And so the committee, we did some stuff outside of town here that served our yellow smoke and front, but also helped kick in some for the county. So the commission thought that it was okay to kick in some, and they had money for it. There was actually a budget for this. So there'll be some kicked in on that. I don't remember the exact amount we put in, but wasn't nothing alarming. We gotta have good functioning sirens. Buck Groves' siren there's something that they think it might work, but it ain't hooked up. Well, I need to hook it up. But it doesn't serve a large number of people, but if we don't have to replace siren, great, because sirens aren't cheap, but they also don't need one that can scream all over. It's a small community, so.
Interesting side. The other night, Sac County just hooked up to their state radio system.
Yeah.
They failed to realize that their sirens are hooked up to their old system and
right, no
turn the sirens on, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So.
There's always a hiccup, and that state systems. I don't know. I'm glad we went the route we did. You can't thank the vision of the guys that actually instigate that. We're so much better off than when I talk to other counties about their communication system. They're not dependent on, we're not dependent on what the state wants all the time. We all know how easy the state can be to get along with on anything, right? But anyway, yeah, great point, Kyle. See, so we're talking about doing a tri-county disassociation letter. So by the time we get to our next meeting, hopefully Zach will have all this figured out. Let's see, discussion, emergency management. Oh, we talked about emergency management funding under the new. What's the new property tax bill going to do to emergency management? So we discussed something, some different things, was all that stuff supposed to still stay under supplemental, and I do not have it. That's all supposed to stay under supplemental, and what have you. Come guard us. So anyway, I'll get onto that point in a little bit. You'll see why that was in the agenda. But so we're starting to discuss where we're going to be and what kind of things we're looking to be funding, so just some, it was just discussion, no takes action on that one. So, and then we just set our meeting, but we went over a lot of stuff, and we record the meeting. So if anybody wants me to go back and get that.
Ty, do you come up with that agenda? Is that
Zach and I do. Yeah, I approve it. Yeah, Zach will come up with the agenda, and they asked me if there's anything I want on it before he starts this, and then I say, well, if there is something I want on it, I'll tell him. But otherwise, when he gets ready to, gets it ready, then I look it over add or take away if I want to. And so I mean, I do the chair thing.
It's a lot of agenda.
Yeah, it's busy. I mean, but we don't have it monthly, you know, it's quarterly, so there's always a lot to catch up
Yep,
on.
I got it.
So, and quite frankly, it stays busy. And then he did have the trailer up here to show us the progress of that. And still some stuff, componentry and stuff to put in it until he knows he's got a good place to park it in. I don't think he's getting in a hurry to put any high dollar stuff in there, you know.
So all that stuff.
And a lot of the stuff, the laptops and stuff won't necessarily stay in there all the time. You know.
Is that in his budget, those things?
Yeah. That's all.
It's all good,
Yeah, and Corey's helping do most of that work, so.
nice.
Anyway, so since we've been seeing all and this has been on my mind a ton for the last couple of weeks, is starting to prepare for next year's budgets. And I think we need to really put a lot of thought into how we want to handle this going forward. I think we probably need to sit down with department heads, see where we can do some cuts. And see what, I mean, this floor here, we keep it pretty tight here. I mean, taking IT out of there and all that stuff, there's, other than cutting people or freezing salaries or something like that, there's not a lot to do on this floor. So I mean, but I don't want to leave them out of the equation. So I mean, you know, you want to talk to the department heads here too. But I think we're really going to have to evaluate need versus want. You know, or mandates versus want. And it's just some of the things that we can trim. And I think we really got to start thinking about it now. I mean, and I think that and when I say we, I don't just mean the five of us. I mean the department heads. Yeah, Dave.
I totally agree with you. I do think it's kind of a two-part process. And one is looking at the budgets. This is probably more of a Paul question, but it'd also be at the same time nice to know estimate of how that's going to affect what our levies will do, what the assessed values and what our revenue are. I mean, are we down? Are we up? Are we? You know, it's hard to know both sides without knowing.
And we still got to know how that whole law is going to take place or take effect.
Right, like what is the spend down for reserves gonna mean? What are the added exemptions, cap? It'd be nice to know, here's the money coming in, here's what we got to spend.
And I actually stopped down to talk to Paul about some of that stuff this morning. He wasn't in yet, so he came up and Craig and I, and we were able to sit here, and Gene came in a little bit too, just ask him some questions on what he kind of understood already and some other things. We did visit about the 35% and the buy down. I don't know how that's going to work, and that's the thing. It didn't sound as he interprets it. And he's had the assessors have already had a preliminary get together about what's in there. He doesn't think, like, if we spend part of our budget for next, or part of our reserves from in next year, that won't be part of our budget. You know, I mean, as far as 2% on top of that too. So when we spend that, I think we need to look at it, you know, infrastructure type things and different stuff like that. If we have to spend some of that down, I don't know where we're even at, to be honest, until they start giving us a little bit better directives from the state. But if we have to spend some of that, I think you spend it on infrastructure. I wouldn't say you use any of that to increase anything that's perpetual growth things or anything of that nature. I think you gotta, you know, I mean, I've had some conversations with different things for development aspects, you know, I mean, obviously that's always a concern of mine, development, infrastructure. What are some big concerns for development in the future? You know, obviously road systems, maybe there's so many separate revenues that come in to secondary roads. Hopefully they don't get hammered as bad. I mean, we might have to cut some things, you know, motor graders might have to last longer or some different things like that. I mean, we might have to do some things of that nature. Might be some cuts, you know, somebody retires, they don't necessarily get replaced kind of things, you know, I mean, we talked about doing that.
but then we were still kind of replacing some people that I don't know for sure that we really needed to. But I don't run that department, so it's a discussion to be had. I think, we've created a new department in EMA, but it's, and I'm having talks with him and he understands. I mean, I chirp, budget, and I think that, that was one of the things we did discuss is going to where the cities are kicking in money as well as us. So that'll put a less strain on this part of the budget, so them discussions we had the other night too.
You think, I mean, I know we have Lucas digging into it and probably giving us a summary of what it means,
Yeah,
but that we're waiting on, but
Yeah,
I don't know, if like Department of Revenue or the Auditors Association or assessors, will they get clarification on what it all means?
Yeah. We will.
I mean, it'd be nice to know, since we have approved our tax levy for 26-27, and we know that the bill that's passed goes into effect for our fiscal year 27-28, you would think we would be able to find out what exactly that bill does to our budget for the 27-28 year, and how many less dollars, what is our dollars that we're going to be dealing with compared to what we levied for 26-27.
Mhm.
That's really what we need to know. Because we know from, and you brought up an example, but Zach's budget that he brought to us this year, he spent a lot of reserves on that.
Mhm.
So if he kept his budget identical for the next year, his tax asking is going to go up.
Yep.
So we have to be cognizant of stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. And that's one of the reasons this other discussion was taking place, where the cities kick in. And I think the population number was the kind of one that they were leaning towards, basing how that works. I mean, I'm still not fully understanding.
And I'll let the board know now, I guess, too, that, I've had very preliminary discussions with superintendent of Denison Schools, city manager of the city of Denison, hospital, about we need to sit down together and talk about, are there some 28E, or is there some sharing things that we should be looking at now? Maybe we're forced to do it when before we didn't. And so actually the school, one of our meetings probably in the next month, we're gonna go to the new Broadway Elementary School after we do our first stuff here. Then we're just gonna recess and go there and meet with them at their school. So people haven't seen the new school, give them an opportunity to do that. But those are all things that I think we have to talk to.
We got to start looking at partnerships within our own county, but we also need to start talking to other close counties.
Yeah.
How we're going to share. Like we do work with Carol on our environmental health, So there's other things that I think we're gonna, it works great. And for the most part, it works great. But I think we're gonna have to look at those types of things. But I think what we still gotta always remember, the only way to grow our tax base is through new construction or expansion within the community. So we still gotta figure out, what do we need? What are the people looking for that are moving into an area or building industry, heavy commercial? What are the things that people are looking for? And what do we need to have in our county? Now we're really going to be curtailed. So when we're doing some buy down, maybe these are some of the things we got to work with. That's why I said we need to start really, as 5 of us in particular, but with all of our departments, we need to start looking at what do we need to do. But infrastructure wise, I think the hospital's in pretty good shape. I did talk to Virginia this morning, and I've come out of church.
I saw her go on.
Yeah, I talked to her after church this morning, and we were talking about funding and stuff. And I told her rural development, I'm the chair on that for NACO. And I said, so the hospitals are pretty important on that regard. And she was talking about your hospital down in Manning and how good your CFO, finance officer, how good she is.
She's great.
So I said, those are some of the things I'm worried about for ours. And I do talk to, some of the people up at our hospital about it. And I've talked to Aaron about it in the past. But I think that maybe some of that stuff, when we know that there's other funds at the national level that can come, maybe we need to always keep looking at that and where we can help them. And that's part of our county infrastructure that's important. When you're trying to recruit people in, wellness centers are great and all that, but you gotta have a hospital, I mean, if you can take care of people, you're already a step ahead of a lot of counties in America. Airport. I went up to Quality the other day, and just the road to that airport knocked the teeth right out of your head. And is that county or city? I don't even know. I mean,
City.
I think that's all city, isn't it? I mean, I just, as we get out there to the farm country, I didn't know if there was a line there because it goes to the airport, and I know the airport's a city thing. I know they don't have a lot of money to help with that, but you do, like when I was talking to one large organization that would have maybe have put in a facility here. I'm trying not to get out of line here where it's getting past a non-disclosure, but one of their curiosities was, landing aircraft of different sizes here, and nothing real big, mind you. But and I know there are some other people even local that are looking at a little bigger aircraft, and when I'm like, I was at the transportation stuff there at NACO, and they were talking about these little commuter, not drones, they might be piloted, hell, they could be drones someday, that work as taxis. Like from our airport down to Epley or up to Sioux City or wherever, Des Moines, might run services like that. And so these are things that in the future connect us to the outside world. And if we don't keep up with some things, we never think about the airport. Not that much anyway, but because they'd asked about that question, well, you know what, that needs to be probably a little bit more of a focus if we're wanting to draw in any industry or heavy commercial, or even, I was thinking about it as I was listening to, let me get his name wrong, Mandami. Yeah, anyway, I'm talking about, the mayor of New York, and all the things he's doing and all the businesses that are supposedly checking out up there, and a lot of that stuff, Wall Street stuff. But I mean, then there's other things. And I thought, I wonder if Iowa is go out there talking to some of these. Hey, we've got a place for you. I mean, we're a big banking center in Des Moines, and maybe some of that could fall over our way too. I mean, you never know until you ask. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Well, them people like to fly in and out quick all the time, so we might need at least to where we can land them private jet type. I mean, IVP always had
Nationally, Miami is making the tug at all those new.
Oh, you bet. Well, Miami and at Austin and Nashville and Austin, Texas. I mean, they're but squeaky wheels get grease. So you gotta, but we also got to think about it. I mean, if we're going to be restricted to a 2% budget, is that condemning us to regression? I mean, are we going to will we not be able to help our county grow? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that right now. And that spooks the heck out of me. I mean, and that ain't even considering things that need updates. I want to go visit with the big chief for that plant. I don't necessarily meet personally, but I'm saying I want to go visit. What do we need to do in Crawford County to make sure we stay on your list of this is where we're staying, because that's a great place for us. We've been a great place for us for a long time. We need more people here. We need to be able to find things. What can we do to help them? So, I mean, these are things that all of a sudden in my mind, took an express. We got to have it on the express train of, well, we got to put this on the front page of what we're doing. Otherwise, it might be too late. I mean, I don't know where we're going to be. Paul was talking about using his reserves. When we start July 1, it's October till we start seeing money again for this next year. So if we don't have some reserves there, I mean, ours are a little bit more plentiful than his for now, but we also got more expenses than he's got in his office. So, I mean, these are things we got to start thinking about. I mean, that 2% cap, we still got other ways, supplementals, that we can hopefully keep pushing our for insurances and all that stuff into, because that's the great goblin. I mean, I don't know what else to call insurance. It never goes down, and it just gobbles more all the time, of your budget. I I mean, but we've got to think about that 2%. That's gonna severely limit us from helping our county grow, I think. That's my concern, without finding grants, and then you're still dependent upon other people. And we're a county that's done a great job, just use our tower system. We're a great job of being self-reliant. And, you know, it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. You know, no family, parents of no family like to be dependent upon anybody else, you know? So, Dave.
On that topic, and with your 2080s, I think 2080s are great in the right place, are thought through to help both sides.
Mhm.
But I think we have to be cautious of 2080s
I
as
know where you're
well, because if it's a scenario like sharing an engineer, we've been down that road. Who gets service first or not? We also don't want to see a 2080 for a service. All of a sudden, well, I'm covering this bigger area. We need more staff. We need to pay more because I think we just have to be very conscious of what the 2080 is. And that, one, it's achievable to all parties that agree to it. And that it's financially achievable. Because to just have a 2080 and have it grow into a bigger thing that we would have had anyways, or to have somebody lacking on the, you know, if it's not a fair agreement, just something I think we have to be cautious of.
They need to be written well. They need to be written so that any changes within this 28E agreement, any changes other than this original agreement, requires all new approval by all parties associated with the 28E.
Right. And I'm not saying that, I mean, in certain cases, 2080s have worked great for us. Environmental health, sharing that with Carol, IT.
Yeah, I think some of them will work fine. You know, some I just don't know if it would ever work. You know, when there's such a demand on both parties that's greater than one person to handle.
But as long as we are conscious about that as we go forward, and make sure that it's the right fit.
Definitely.
Look at Harrison County, they're doing a 28E to share their, anything for this now, but they want more, engineer, more money. And then it's gonna be their car, their gas, their vehicle, you know, all those little things that when you really add it all up, are you really saving money and getting less services? I think they're really weighing that pretty. I don't know if that's the only thing you do if you can't find one. And you pay them what they need to take on that extra work, but there's only 40 hours in a week for 37 and a half. How are you gonna get that much more stuff done in that time period, even if you're making more money?
I mean, because if you take your equipment, and currently we're on a replacement schedule of, if you want to say, once every 5 years, and you move that to once every 7 years, you know, just for 2 years, you have a savings, and then it's the same every year after that, because now we're on the rotation of, you know, every 7 years. So you get a short-term savings, but long-term, we're not doing anything. So, and every year those costs of replacement goes up and up and up. And like Ty said, we know that insurance goes up and up and up. And usually our cost of employees goes up and up and up.
Eventually.
How do we deal with all that? How do we deal with all that?
Eventually, we're gonna run out.
When your revenue is capped, right?
I
That's the
don't,
challenge.
yeah.
Never happened.
Efficiency.
So anyway, that's some of the stuff that's eating me up at night, so.
What for efficiencies, like trees?
I'm glad I don't live in your head.
It's crowded.
It's not.
It's like living in the city.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
Ben already, all right.
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
So did you make it to the Hungry Canyons meeting? or-
I did.
Okay.
On a positive note, higher fuel price, actually more fuel tax revenue.
Well, maybe.
Just a thought.
Yeah, but I'm trying to sort through them. The paper clips are tied together.
No, well, first, no utility permits to speak of, but Frontier over on L51 there, it looks like they did end up filling their holes.
Looks like it.
So, I guess I didn't look at every one of them, but it looked like,
The dirt didn't just wash down into the hole, it just.
I guess I haven't been since the rain, it might have
The
settled.
post and fence and everything are all gone. Cones, everything's gone.
Yeah.
I was surprised yesterday when I came by, I'm like, oh, scenery's changed.
I think it was maybe a day or two after a meeting yes, last week. I drove by there and noticed they were done, so I think it just maybe need a reminder that they had holes that they needed to fill, so. But it's done, so it's good. Well, they'll be out of their way, won't have to worry about that from when we're doing a project there. But project, nothing, no new news there, still looking at the Legion, so until we get to that point, really, nothing really to report on the project there, so. But our guys, the great crew, they're still up on F Avenue, they're finishing up there, I believe they're just laying back topsoil now and get ready to go around the corner to 110th. After which, when we finish up in that neighborhood, I think we're gonna go down to that 300 off of L51, that Kent Lansing's area there, shape up that intersection. We're gonna try and knock that out next, and that way that's done. We knew we have to do it sometime, so. But that's kind of the plan there for the bridge crew. Bridge crew, they're still working on 390th rain here. It's kind of delaying a little bit, you know. You got text, Tim sent me a text to show the progress, what they can get done in 2 weeks. So a lot of good work that they can do. They have basically the channel shaped, piers, the piles driven, the beams set, the riprap placed underneath the bridge, and basically ready almost for decking. And so it's quite impressive what they can do, which granted that's a single span bridge and they don't all go that way. It's a pretty straightforward bridge, but it's when you can get to that point on a bridge, you know you're flying. So so proud of my guys there. So but they'll be going from there, and hopefully we can line up with a bridge on the west part of the county there. We're gonna put in one of them, use the DOT sections on a site on the west end of Crawford here. I can't remember the road that it goes on, but just a single span bridge, 40-foot span, using those DOT sections to the last of what we have there for a 40-foot bridge. I guess Whipco has some utilities in the area that they kind of want to coordinate when we do that. So they're only having to move their poles once. We'll try and coordinate with them to make sure that we can do it at the same time. Otherwise, we got some little side projects, some culverts and whatnot we can do while waiting on them if we try to match up schedules. So, but roadside crew, they're mowing and spraying and doing what they can done and doing the rains and spraying guardrails, just trying to get them kind of so they're not a weedy mess all summer long. I know Verdean wanted to hit them early and get that looking good, but mowing ahead of the holiday here, should have all that. If anybody sees anything that isn't been caught, before the end of the week here, out to a cemetery or something that got missed, please let me know. We want to make sure everything looks good for the holiday this weekend. So, and then, we do have a position open for motor grader operator out of Smith Swing Shop. We do have one gentleman that's gonna move on from there and I decided to take a different position somewhere else. So we do have a job opening there. And so we posted it in the outline shops in the courthouse here. We've got some time, but we really want to get that position filled. So if we're not really seeing any in-house interest, we're probably gonna get that advertised pretty quickly.
We did fill one last year, right? Did we have more than one good applicant for that position?
I can look and see what we have for applicants.
Alameda City.
Yeah, we had some applicants. I know that a lot of them were down in that neighborhood. We do try to hire, kind of in the area where they're going to be at. It's preferable, but but anymore, you know, they get a little ways away from the shots, but we do want them to kind of be in the Schleswig area, where they're operating on. But yes, we did have good applications, for our motor grader positions. I anticipate being able to fill that further. I know some of our part-time truck driver positions, we've had difficulty getting, some folks in the door, and we're kind of starting to make do with who we have, and in the trucks and seeing how it goes.
Yesterday?
Pardon?
Were they bringing home riprap yesterday?
That's possible. They were bringing home some for the ditch checks. 41.
Looked like they were coming back from Sioux City. They were waving like hell at me, so I figured they were our truck.
They might have been. They might have been bringing some from Anthem. Just bringing.
Just sorry about that. I just
bringing some onto the roads. Just kind of filling the dead end roads. But
and the truck drivers, I thought they looked like they were going hard at it. Good. Good.
They weren't speeding, were they?
Nope, they were driving perfect. I walked.
Damon and Barry are out today assessing roads and kind of getting kind of a game plan for the gravel haul, which will start next week. They're just, like I said, just kind of getting a feel for we want to have all the ducks in a row, getting some maps ready for the guys to hand out for anybody doing the gravel haul with us, and just it'll come Tuesday, they'll hit the ground running and really start covering some miles. And not sure how many trucks we have, lined up, but I think they're over in the mid-20s or over 20 trucks. So it makes it go real good. So then we've had good luck getting trucks in. Like I said, that'll start off from Memorial Day. We have 40,000 from Anthem, 10,000 from Wall Lake, and about 70 from Lake View from Stratford. There's just got bringing to your attention the increase in cost that the fuel and the additional material costs is going to have an impact on grab. Really, the numbers that the next sheet I gave you there is just some really quick estimates that I was able to just put together this morning here. Just the materials, the 40,000 that we're getting from Anthem, the additional fuel costs from what we were, the 22 cents per load ton mile from last year. If we haul about the same amount, assuming approximately 30 miles or what, about the same distances. Between that and the additional cost of the materials, additional 95 cents just for the material. An increase just from the 40,000 from Anthem of about $84,000 on top of what it would have been last year. Same material, same distances. Again, it's estimate, but it's got to be pretty close. Just taking some averages.
That's sometimes the reason why how we design our budgets is faulty. When we're sitting here in January, February, looking at what fuel costs are. And we plug that into the equation, then war happens, which nobody suspected was going to happen. And it jumps your fuel costs. And now we're dealing with those higher costs. It just,
the material costs,
it's so hard to plan. How do you get planned?
I knew what they were going to be. But the fuel cost was a complete,
right.
I mean, up in the air, didn't realize it was going to increase.
If we got a 2% increase, this is half of that is right there. That you didn't suspect.
To Ty's point of a 2% cap in budgeting going forward, we may have to it's gonna be hard to contract some of this stuff at the full amount because we don't have potentially the reserve to pay that difference. Increased costs.
Yeah.
So we may have to budget or contract under what we need in case of increased costs.
We don't have the luxury of that
Exactly.
hefty reserve.
Great point. Great point.
I mean, we try to get the material that is needed out there on the road. I know we figured about the same, approximately 120,000 tons to go out on the road. That's really kind of cutting her to a minimum. That's about what we put on the roads every year. And even at that, we haul throughout the winter a little bit more. Just keeping Brandon's wheels going, bringing in some material, what we can do. But yeah, a $250,000 increase over last year. That's some of that was foreseen in the material cost, but a good, well over half of that is just the rising cost of the last few months.
Mhm.
And how we do our fuel adjustment for our contract haulers. So it just kind of puts into perspective the impact of that will have on our gravel haul. And I don't foresee things changing between now and that time gravel haul is finished.
Plan for worst case scenario.
Ben, what's that put us at total amount per ton for our gravel laid in?
Total amount per ton.
I mean, if,
It really
I know,
depends on where it's coming from and the distance it's going.
I
It
mean,
varies.
ballpark, we spend $10 a ton.
I would say we would.
In some areas 15 and others a little more. Our furthest out, I'd say maybe 17, 18 ton. I'd have to look at that.
Because some of that we purchased was around
And that's what-
$8.50 just for the purchase, not including freight that would take, the fuel that would take, the
Just-
man hours it would take.
Stratford's material last year was $8.56 a ton. This year it's $9.31. So
Okay.
just like I said,
Does
just the 75 cents increase in the
$7 a
material
ton.
cost, which I'm sure a lot of that is driven by fuel too. So, but yeah, it's everything has gone up. That's a certainty. But the exact cost per ton, and that's why this is an estimate. They're taking it all to all.
And does the
different
strategy from an engineer standpoint ever change as to how, maybe not how, but as far as gravel on the roads, is there any strategy that's different now than it was 20 years ago? I mean, can we ever get by with less on the same amount of roads?
I would like to really see the results from this ISU study, the study they did, and see if we can, I don't know if limestone, with the hauling cost being what it is to bring this many ton from, north, if we can get by with less limestone and to shape our roads up, a little bit, using more limestone and rail it in, and maybe the cost being trying to optimize our cost for what we put out there. If there's a cheaper route, but generally the gravel, the quarry gravel has always been our cheaper material to put out on the roads. I know we can buy some cheaper. I know that Wall Lake, Hallett's material at Wall Lake, it's a little bit less cost per ton, it's a little closer. It's just not as good a material, but we may have to go with more of the material that, we're not as satisfied with just due to cost. At least we're getting the tons out there.
And are there less
You guys don't
roads
like
in
it
the
as
county
much.
that we need to gravel? I mean, do we just do
Do like
main
A
through?
minus roads.
Yeah, well, I don't know, right. I mean, is that something that we consider?
As an upgrade.
I don't know, we're thinking about it.
But
It makes me happy that we're talking about it.
The thing I noticed now that you took this dust control down, and it just dawned on me is, it's an expense, but yet, is it a savings as well? I mean, I would like to try a test to where we don't blade it as much. Obviously, does it deteriorate as fast as it, because then it's not dusty, so it's not blowing off. I mean, if we do a test with dust control on it to see if we require as much gravel or maintenance in the summertime. I'm just looking for different.
Half mile or whole mile stretch, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
just see what, just another cost estimate of, I'm just trying to think of different ways we can save some money then. I mean, I know it's gonna cost us to put something down, but in the long run, is it would be saving us? And not every mile am I talking about, or some of these roads where we got high volume, a lot of washboards that require a lot of maintenance consistently. Maybe, do we do some of this stuff?
we can certainly blade them less often. That's gonna get people.
Proactively trying to think outside the box to save money. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you, Ben, I made a post on Facebook for that very reason last night, because we're gonna have to talk about things like blading less often. And that means you'll have a few more washboards out there. But you gotta evaluate what's more important to you. less property taxes or more maintenance on the roads. I mean, there's gonna be a scale that's gotta be balanced all the way across the thing. And that's what we're gonna have to talk about with you and your department. Do you know what your worst roads are? Do you keep statistics on all that? I mean, I'm gonna say your motor grader guys probably got an idea which roads they gotta hit the most. I mean, 193rd, you know, I mean, we kind of, hopefully, kind of took care of the yellow smoke up to the radio tower, but, you know, I mean, there's other roads that are in the county that are more traffic, that don't burn gravel going north off of 141. And, you know, I don't know for sure over West Side, which are the worst ones. I know which ones I get on sometimes that are, you know, very good, but
The blade operators, they're pretty familiar with which roads
Right.
are getting worse
So that would help.
at first.
That's
And
what we're
and
talking
probably
about.
do already kind of prioritize them a little bit over ones that don't get shot as much and really don't get bad. And I think they are making a conscious effort to not hit it if it doesn't need it and get the roads that where it is needed, because certain roads are getting more awkward, they are more highly traveled or have awkwards coming up a hill. They just know their territories in that way. And they know that there are certain areas they gotta get more often that where it's merited. So I think they're making the best of their time out there.
Mhm.
It's like I said, I would certainly hate to reduce their time out there addressing road issues. I know there's times when it's dry and there's nothing you can do, you know, to be out there is actually an exasperating problem. Yeah, so.
here's the thing you're gonna have to think about, Ben. All right? What if we pull one motor grader out of the road, out of the county, and you expand everybody's 2 miles? You see what I'm saying? These are the things we gotta think about. And then you pull a whole motor grader out. So right now you're looking to hire somebody. I mean, maybe Charter Oak guy or Ricketts guy and the Kyron guy get more ground. You see what I'm getting at? Maybe you gotta redraw their entire county to make it.
Routes now, Ben,
Pardon?
12 summer routes,
Summer routes, there's 12 summer routes.
they're roughly 80
And,
miles each.
And really, I know what the guy would really prefer is to have a floater, you know, that not reducing guy, but actually having a floating route, because there are so many times where one guy's out sick or on vacation and you got nobody covering that territory. It's almost, we're kind of almost at bare
Gravel haul time.
staff as far as that's concerned.
How many miles do they typically do a day?
They usually try to get over their entire territories every 2 weeks. At least hit every road every 2 weeks.
What do they have?
Is what they.
Roughly.
So at 10
So
days,
they
they have roughly 80 miles.
They have
So
approximately
8 miles a day, they
territory.
can do about 8 miles a day.
They roughly have like 80 miles, roughly 70 to 80 miles depending.
Yeah, it takes some guys, more to get over their territory, some are tougher territories than others, so, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what
Right.
they get done in a day, but,
As we talk more about this going forward and how to best use them, and if we have to pull back, I do think the conversation of having a system in place to show where they've been and what they've done besides the coloring book could be more important,
Tracking system.
a tracking system.
Mhm.
So we
Something
can,
that you-
GPS will be
right
done
here.
automatically. On the app on
yeah,
the phone.
we've looked at them, it's
Yeah.
just, there are so many,
Even-
and really, I don't. Excess information, you know, really all I want is it to paint a line where they've been, and you got so many, and the subscription to some of these is just.
because I'll tell you even now, as we talk about pulling them off and doing less, I've never received a phone call that even on a high volume road is graded too much.
You've never got that complaint.
Never.
Probably won't ever get it either.
So it'll take some adjustment from the public if we did do that.
Mhm.
But I think we also need to be able to explain why and where they've been and what they've done.
Yeah,
And our current system doesn't, yes, it works, but it doesn't allow us to really.
it
dig
works
into-
for you and the motor graders and the.
It does.
But there will be an
It's,
education part of that process
You've
that,
gotta make sure it works for
hey,
the
we hit
public.
these roads because they're higher volume and this is how many times they did it. We've done these roads. But we need to explain that as a board as we look at these cuts and how to best make it be efficient.
Last thing I like to do is say, you gotta call Ben to find that out. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't know all the minutia of what you're up to. So we do have to have him call you sometime, but we like to be able to explain that basically to save you a few dollars, you know?
we could, and like I said, if we did have a program where it shows where they've been, you know, when's the last time their road's been hit, you know, if they truly wanna know. If we did have a program like that, we would have it up on our website where they could see what the last time they had their road done.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not it stems the, the reason they're
Oh,
calling.
they'll still be mad about the washboards that are where you come off of a gravel in the middle of a hill and you gotta turn up it to go to somebody's place. That's always gonna be washboarded.
Yeah.
And that's washboarded 2 days after a good rain, if you motor graded it that day.
And then not just generally hitting those roads more often just because they're going after those roads that are higher traffic volume if the conditions are merited. They're not just doubling their time on a road for no reason. It's bad, so I gotta go hit this road. But yeah, it's all condition based more so than timing. But
Wondering why some of those would be subject to some dust control. I mean, basically, just lack of moisture, and then what creates dust with washboards.
lack of moisture, you know, the different, you know, going up
Consistent
the
moisture, you can always, it
the
would
acceleration
less
changes.
dust and less washboard, susceptible to dust board, washboards.
Yeah, when we put the blade to it, when it's dry, it just works out loose material, that's gonna create that washboard.
I remember when I was a kid, it seemed like in the summer, there was always just the gravel was just shoved to the side. Just, you know, it was always a windrow of gravel on the side of the road. And I mean, I see why we don't do that either anymore too, but I was up in like Jackson Township, and there was, I think, merit blades up in that area, I think, and there was windrows. He was tucking some of that gravel off to the side to maybe try to eliminate some of that washboarding. So
Possibly, yeah.
that's how it appeared to me, you know.
When it's needed.
Yeah,
Well, there'd be experience in that motor grader, so we might have a trick or two up his.
and I'm not, you know, you got 12 motor grader operators and they all see things differently, and none of them are wrong, so.
Everybody has their own way.
Right.
Again, to pull a guy off to reduce the route, I don't know if that's a great answer to it. Like I said, we seem like we're running basically on, you know, minimum the way it is, so for them to get
I
over
would,
and to stay ahead of the road conditions as they are. But I mean, again, nothing's off the table, you know, but it's always something that can be redrawn, redone, but I like to avoid that as much as possible. But I think reducing the amount of maintenance out there is not
Well,
gonna.
on the flip side of it, and to that point, Ben, I also hate to, I think it's a fine line to walk again, because if we slowly start to get behind on what needs to be done, to keep roads in good condition. Let's say we do have a bad storm come through, and all of a sudden, not only are we behind on regular maintenance, but then all of a sudden, we have a big area that needs it.
Emergency maintenance.
We get way behind real fast.
Yep.
But I think Ty's right. I mean, it is something that it has to go through our
We
mind
gotta
now.
talk about it.
It's something that's gotta be discussed, yeah.
You know, when everybody, like when you said the 70 to 80 miles, and if you have 12 people that are doing 70 to 80, now you've got 11 that are doing it. That means each person needs to increase their territory by 6 miles. So you had 6 miles to everybody's territory.
basically,
And now that's one more extra day before in their rotation, if they're doing 6, 7, 8 miles a day. So instead of it being hit every second Monday, it'd be on the Tuesday, it'd be the day later, you know? So I think, but yeah, it has to be talked about. It has to be thought about in our minds. Is this something that, you know, we need to?
Then you get a 2-inch rain event, and you're plagued with edge ruts and stuff like that, so you just blow over them quick, and you never truly get a chance to fix them. You just,
It does take them, you know, after we have an event like that,
yeah.
to really get things back to par. And,
Right.
but hopefully there.
You're right.
Fewer
There is an ideal amount, and like you're right saying we're at that limit. But
But all
what
things
are
we're
we?
gonna have to look at.
I mean, do we have to go to a B or a B plus roads or whatever? You know, we got our level Bs. Do we need to do a B plus roads that I don't know.
I was thinking that the chair could be a substitute motor grader.
Who's chair next?
Kyle,
Gene's got training in one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for Gene doing it.
Okay.
And that ties into, like I say, us, electing to upgrade some of these roads from level B to level A. There is that level of maintenance that, that we do have to maintain that from. I know it's and that's why it's not for every road out there. So there's always some roads are just gonna stay level B roads. It doesn't merit putting the gravel out there. Some,
Well,
I think it makes sense. So,
every change that we think about making, we always have to think about the consequence. Unlike some people that make rules and haven't thought about the consequence.
That's only 120 miles away.
Just saying that out loud, that has to be really thought out and all parties tell us what that consequence might be.
That's why I think we have to have these discussions with the.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why we're starting them.
Because we don't know all the details in theirs, and just like we say, they need to have us in Des Moines
Right.
at committee meetings, we gotta talk to her.
That's where I was getting.
Yeah, very good point.
So, make sure that we've thought it all the way through
As best we can.
as best we can. Yeah, we
It
don't
won't
have,
be
we
flawless.
nobody has a crystal ball.
Anything else, Ben?
that's all I got.
Thanks,
I see you got your safety meeting, next
Yes.
Wednesday. Where's that at?
We just do it here.
Here.
at the courthouse. Hope to do a little bit of safety deal in June. I got who are trying to schedule some the hospital to do some safety meeting, but they kind of indicated that they won't be able to do it here in June. September is the earliest they would be able to do the training we were hoping for, a little bit on wellness and flexibility, training on,
Yep.
combating the slip, strips and falls. That's kind of the big thing is back injuries, slip, strips and falls, not having that flexibility. You're kind of going over some exercises, some tips, on what, when you sit in a motor rear like this all day long, that's, your range of motion just hasn't been there all day. And when just pointers on how to twist and
I
turn.
literally
They
have,
can
I literally
go over a lot.
I
Has the
literally
hospital
have
done
an
that
exercise
before?
and a
Has
stretch
the
routine I do in my
hospital
truck
done
every
that
morning for the very reason he's talking
Those exact topics,
Especially for
I'm
your
not sure, but they
science
probably have
and
done,
stuff.
like
Keep that up,
wellness,
'cause otherwise it'll
how to
catch up to
maintain
you.
your
That's
health,
pretty
if you're.
Just trying to think of anybody else that could come sooner, that's, chiropractor or somebody that would help, physical therapy.
I think at the same time, they like to update our CRP, CPR. Trainings as well, certifications.
Okay, okay.
I can get them up to snuff, they want,
Norm.
I think they could put on a pretty good program if
I
they
agree.
give them time.
We're waiting.
And maybe we can get something else going on in here for safety reasons. So, just kind of switch gears a little bit. So. But yes, we will have a safety committee meeting, just our department, the secondary roads on May 22nd. We'll try to do that every last Wednesday of every month, so.
I like what you're thinking of this. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Any questions for Ben?
we already had them.
Thank you, sir.
That's the hope.
Helps our people in their work now.
Next item on the agenda, cost allocation services, 3-year contract. Terry, you have that information?
I do have that information. Cost advisory services, we've been with them quite a number of years. 92 counties use them for this purpose. We use it to come up with the local administrative expense reports, the LAEs, that come from DHS or HHS. What else? We don't have it as much anymore. We used to get LAEs for them renting our space on South Main. I know the county attorney uses the LAEs or is included in part of that investigation that they do to determine our funding, but Anyway, it's just a contract we get
Cost
every year.
allocation or cost advisory services?
Advisory,
Okay,
cost advisory,
well, then it's got cost.
right, but it's cost advisory.
Okay. So we're doing it right. So how
Hasn't
much is that?
contract changed much from what it was.
I can't remember what our current rate is, but I don't think it did. I don't think it ever, and this locks us in for
3 years.
3 years.
Spread
It's an
out.
amount not to exceed $4,450
Per
annually.
annual.
Yep,
I don't think that, just thinking back.
I don't remember
think that
what it,
changed.
I don't think it's changed much.
So it's as we use them.
It's annual, they come in.
Yeah, they come in, they do some, they have questions about payroll questions, accounts payable things. We give them the information that they request of us. They prepare a report. The report comes to this table every single year. So,
Very good.
I'll make a motion to approve the
excuse me.
contract,
Second.
3-year contract, cost
Yeah.
advisory services, 3-year contract.
Motion by Kyle, second by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to resolution 2620. It's something that we do annually, I
It is.
believe, right, Terry?
Yep, the secondary roads are the rural fund secondary roads we do semi-annually because it's this year it's over $3 million. Excuse me. And it is a statutory amount. The rural basic to secondary roads is based on $3.0375 levy per $1,000 of valuation to the rural fund, to rural property. The general basic fund to secondary roads is 16.0875 per $1,000 of value. So that's just over $240,000. $240,136, and then the second half, approximately half, 1.5 million transferred from rural basic into secondary roads.
Anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion as resolution. Transferring the funds.
Second.
Motion by Gene, second by Kyle. We'll have roll call by resolution. Gene,
Aye.
Kyle,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion carries. Move on to resolution 2026-21.
And this one is general basic into general supplemental in the amount of 200,000, and rural basic into rural supplemental in the amount of 200,000.
That's based on,
They were budgeted. They're needed. I
okay,
know rural basic is down, I think, under 80,000 currently. Or rural supplemental, sorry, not rural basic. So, yeah, it's one of those housekeeping things we do.
Yep.
just keeping house.
Yeah, $200,000 a shot, I guess, but.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion by Dave. Support. Second by Ty. Any further discussion? Roll call by resolution. Dave.
Aye.
Ty.
Aye.
Gene.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Let's move on to resolution 26-22.
So that the special revenue fund 0049 is contracted law enforcement. I believe the sheriff accidentally deposited the last two contract payments. One was Dow Cities, one was Dow Cities and one was Schleswig's in the amount of 15,000 total. Dow Cities was 5,000, Schleswig's was 10,000. They accidentally got
Put it in the
deposited
general.
into the general fund.
Okay.
Should have went into fund 0049, which is contracted law enforcement. So this is just to get those funds into that special revenue fund. They were done in April. If they'd have been done in May, we could have not had to have the board make
approval.
make the change, but if it was a month ago.
Makes sense.
Keep the house.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, resolution 2026-22, transfer the funds from general to the special to correct an error, I would call it.
That amount was 15,000, right?
Yes.
Motion by Gene, second by Dave. Any further discussion? Now we'll roll call by resolution. Gene,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Kyle, Ty.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried. Move on to discussion on void. Void.
Yeah, Ryan and Karen are both here. Help with that.
Project move, huh? State says they're gonna leave us.
Yep, Karen. You wanna
Leave us hanging.
kick us off?
It's teamwork.
It is.
We're trying to get another chair with rollers so we can have two.
You know what,
chairs at the same time. All right.
Well, Monona approved theirs anyway, porting the clerk of court phone numbers over to the judicial phone system. We're getting new phones July 20th, they're coming. State, so we want to know if we can use our same numbers.
So, I mean, I can chime in on that.
Okay.
We control the numbers, in theory. We are under contract with Katie though until March 28th of 27, so next year. So if you leave on July 20th, in theory, there's gonna be 8 months there of contract that we can't get out of for those 19 phone lines. So it's around $263 a month. There's gonna be 8 months instead of 9 I was cutting, so it'd be about $2,200 or so that we would be on the hook for, that we wouldn't be using over those 8 months.
Which are other options?
Try to force the state to pay it, and sit out for the last 8 months, whether they use it or not, or we absorb it and add that extra cost to everybody else's lines that we also have. We have 50 some total lines, 19 of them are state, so we can absorb that into the cost of our other lines.
So we won't have any state on our lines now?
The phones are all, they're moving phones, so that we would have nothing of those anymore. So as of March 28th next year, we would just redo the contract, Katie, drop those 19 off, and then we'd be back to just ours.
Does the state typically reimburse us for those 19 phone lines?
Yes, they would send a bill every month, and then they pay us back for that every month.
So it seems logical that they would be obligated for the contract.
Did you say
It seems
logical?
logical.
It's
As I'm
really
saying,
not.
I'm thinking, I just stopped.
But the state didn't sign that contract, the county did.
Right,
Yeah,
we aren't finding anything.
Yeah, we
was
looked
out
it'd
last-
been nice if they had called to see.
I think it was a gentleman's handshake,
Oh, you don't even see a signed contract.
We couldn't buy
Well, the
anything.
county has one,
I see.
We
but
do
not
with
with the state. We didn't do
Oh,
anything
I-
with the state for their portion.
But they have
Feel like we should do less and less with them all the time.
So currently you guys utilize 19 lines at the district
Well,
court
according to
or?
you guys.
We know 16 for certain, the other 3, we're thinking of like fax lines and, you know.
Oh,
what we were
like
trying to
fax
do.
line.
Because I have like 16 in the system as actual named
We got
phones.
actually 15 phones and there's
Oh.
more lines, so I don't know how you guys. How it's built, lines or phones or.
Yeah, so it's the different lines, it's fax lines and other things that are in. Doing all those
Who in the
things.
state do you talk to about the reimbursement for that?
Well, Chad
Well-
Erickson is the email.
I email a certain percentage a month with the bill. Because it changes like a little bit, sometimes by like pennies or dollars, but.
Now Monona rented their phones, she said, but they're giving us the numbers.
You felt them out on whether they would cover the existing contract?
No, I just found out that, you know, that they were actually for certain, you know, I mean, you were doing information, then look out.
So if the numbers changed, would you still have to pay that?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna be on the hook for those 19.
No matter what?
Right, we would still probably have to pay that.
We're gonna be
We'll
on
have
the
to
hook
pay
for
the
those
bill,
19 for the next.
so.
That's the way it sounded in the email.
No way out of it.
Sent out, or he sent out
Yeah.
one.
But I feel like the equipment is
No reason for
not
discussion.
yours, right?
Yeah.
The phones themselves
Yeah, the phones themselves.
are ours.
We'll get new phones,
Right.
so.
So we will take our phones and be able to use them to integrate if there is a problem with a phone or.
Okay.
Well,
whatever,
so
that
honestly,
kind
in
of
that
thing, or
aspect,
is
if
not.
there's any issues with any phones right now, we automatically get a different one from Katie.
From
We aren't,
Katie.
like on the hook for that, like that's
Oh,
part of our
gotcha.
contract with them. So if we have an issue with the phone, we get one for free essentially.
Okay.
That's what they're doing, so we, you know, wouldn't have any use for those extra 19 over the next year.
Unintended consequences.
We just talked about those today.
So really, we don't have to do anything. We just have to keep paying, I guess.
We can't-
Well, it's just a matter of we're
You
gonna
have
be on the
to, yeah, if you're gonna let them use their numbers,
Yeah, and there's no point, I mean,
right?
you got people that probably know them numbers well.
Yeah, it would cause some chaos if we withheld
Yeah,
the
it
numbers. I mean, it really would. It's just a matter of
Your
you
phone
wanna
bill for a while.
Right.
incentivize
Are we gonna
them
play
to
nice
pay
in the
that for the next
sandbox
8
or not?
months.
So,
By withholding them until they agree to that or not, I mean, that would be the only.
I should have had it on there as a discuss and take action, but
Wow.
we'll take action next week on it.
Might change our mind by next week.
Yeah,
I see.
I'd just be curious how they're handling that across the state. Are they, all these counties just
Well, I don't
absorbing
know
their
if everybody's
contracts?
on this book VoIP.
I would say most probably are by nowadays, yeah. I
Now,
mean,
Carroll, Sac, Ida, Cherokee, and Monona supposedly have all agreed to, for us to use the
Okay.
numbers.
I mean, it makes sense to use
I
the
don't,
same
I
numbers.
don't have any
Yeah.
trouble with using the numbers, I just have trouble
Paying a
with,
contract?
once
Us
again, the
absorbing
state
the
didn't
bill.
call somebody and plan ahead. And now we're paying for a phone system for you guys.
So the appropriate way would have been for the state to contact all the counties and say, let us know when your contract is up.
So that we can.
So then we'll
change
coordinate,
over to me.
so when your contract's up, your new phones are better.
Is there any way, maybe we need to have that discussion with the state and say, hey, our contract's up.
Don't hurt the call.
Then can we switch over at that time? Otherwise, we're paying a contract for nothing.
Because the numbers aren't
So is this
changing.
gonna
so-
improve your phone search system a lot? Or is it, wouldn't
Yeah.
bother your bed if it lasted the way it was until?
I mean, it may
I mean,
be
we
at
can
least
just
what
have the conversation, if they
and
do, they do,
what
if
we
they
thought
don't,
about Is to.
all we can do is have a tantrum, I mean, it
So
ain't
there's
gonna
something
do it.
that's
Right now,
not
somebody
broken
calls the
that they're
courthouse.
fixing.
Yeah.
Transfer.
Once
We're not gonna be
again.
able to transfer
Not
that in the
broken.
future, because now we'll be on a separate system.
And now
I mean, if they're saving a bunch of money, good, but
But we're not.
And then we're also gonna
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
rework our phone
You're
tree.
used
Right
to
now, we
dumping
call
their
it,
bills
so
in
that's
there.
one of those person for that, and one of
This
them
is gonna be
reports. And so we'll have to bring that out of that call tree.
Yeah.
So just
Well,
little
we
things to
can
think
just-
about, it does affect other things.
Yeah, we can input their number and say, tell them to call for the clerk report, call blankety blank blank and.
Just little other.
So
things that
what
I'll-
Little things we
So
gotta
once
do.
you're 100% on with the state, is that gonna save us on our phone bill for the 19 phones?
I mean, it'll just be that much less. We're getting reimbursed for it right now anyway, so our net will be the same. We won't necessarily be ahead. Cause we get billed for it now and then they just.
I like to be ahead whenever possible.
And we
so.
can Brian will be able to, and the board will be able to renegotiate that contract. Hopefully having less lines does not mean that they increase the cost per line. You know,
I get it.
business,
I get it. I'm
That's the only thing
just
that
business.
potentially could,
Karen,
not the
the
volume
state
of
won't charge
lines
you
might
guys
increase
anything
the
for
lot
these new
cost per
lines then,
line.
Right, exactly.
Maybe if we give them the sob story about how the state screwed us.
I don't
again.
think so.
Okay.
Because
Again.
the whole state is going.
Okay, I was just hoping
Yeah.
that you would say that.
Yeah. Yeah, theirs
Well-
is happening sooner than later,
Yeah.
regardless of
How long?
what we do.
This is a point that.
Well, I was just wondering if
We'll
it
have
was-
it on there so you
Well, there's
can
no
actually
discussion on our
agree
part.
to.
We're just getting yanked. I
But
mean, the
we'll
state's
hear-
gonna do what they're gonna do
Yeah.
and there's no sense holding those lines at hostage.
No, I-
But Kyle, will they charge us eventually for the change they made? Figure out if that's costing them a lot of money?
Of course they will.
Just asking for
But
a
just
friend.
keep sending the state the bills for covering those costs, because they're the ones.
Yeah,
that
maybe
decide.
they'll just keep paying it.
Maybe it'll- unless they listen to our Zoom meeting.
You know,
No, I mean, I can try.
Never
I
hurts to
send that,
try.
I send it every month, I put together to send it, so.
Never hurts to try.
I like it.
I like it.
I think we just, at least
billing.
the first month after.
Until they
send
say
the bill.
something.
Yeah.
Send the bill, because, and at the end of the contract, we'll quit no matter what.
I can do that. That's-
All right.
That
Do you
doesn't affect you, you're gonna get your numbers.
do we need a
We've thrown a
motion?
lot of darts at the wall.
It's not a-
Let's see how this.
We-
It's not a
We
take
are
action.
tired
We're gonna put it
We'll
on
take
the
action
agenda
next week.
next week for take action.
Okay,
Okay.
that
You
sounds
get it
good.
passed, Karen. You'll get keep your numbers.
You'll get.
Yep.
Karen, don't
Get your
tell
numbers.
them.
Don't tell
Don't
anybody.
tell them we're sending a bill.
No, I won't.
Take the state and small claims court.
They're coming here on July 20th, so what's gonna happen?
Do we have to let them?
Well, I'm coordinating stuff at a time to do a transfer of numbers with Katie and everything.
We'll
so
bill
they
them
will
then.
Release them.
We'll have to make the
We'll have to be
decision
in touch.
official
So you'll
next
just
week.
email me that the board has approved that or something, so that I can send it on.
You can always come visit again if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, Karen, I enjoy your company.
But you don't have to, I'll let you know.
Okay,
It shouldn't
Just-
be a problem. It should be a done deal.
Yeah.
I like words like it won't be a problem, not it shouldn't be a
won't.
problem. I mean,
It
you'll
won't.
email me back.
It won't be a problem.
We are at the board table. I mean.
It'll be, you start hearing.
we are the government.
Will it be a problem?
There we go.
Coordinate.
Another.
There you
use
go,
for it.
officially
Better not.
unofficial.
Better not.
Okay.
I got you.
You're gonna email me
Yes, ma'am.
something
Next
and
Tuesday.
I send you.
Mine
Yes,
says better not,
it's all good. Your numbers are your numbers.
Consistent, yep, consistent.
Shouldn't change.
better
what-
not tell you now,
And let them know.
Yeah,
which
oh
means
yeah,
they
for
know,
sure.
but they're not telling.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ryan.
Thanks, Karen, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry.
Oh,
Don't be,
You're
it's not
fine,
you.
We just gotta
guys.
make it humorous
not
for us
you.
or we'll go crazy.
So we'll have that on the agenda next week then for,
Yeah, for action.
unless we change our minds.
Yeah,
We're not gonna do it.
move on to the Tyler amendment for agreement that was in our board book.
yeah, so this is, they let us know that that executime was a product the county was going to purchase. It turned into quite the kerfluffle and we ended up at ESS. Electronic timesheets rather than a timekeeping system. So they're just cleaning up their books. So they would like us to say,
I mean, it was the way I read it, there was no cost.
no cost, no, huh? And you can see it was a long time ago, 2018.
I did,
when-
right?
Yeah.
And it looked like it just went to 2025 or,
Yeah, they're just removing it from, their books, basically. It's a cleanup on their side. Yeah, we have not been paying for it. We have not been, we didn't implement it. There was trouble with the server and making the switch or something. I don't remember exactly,
Right.
but anyway, it's just kind of a cleanup. Another housekeeping.
coming
thing.
from them
From them to
to
us.
clean up kind of their books.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of.
yes.
Okay.
A lot of housekeeping today.
Lot of
thing we brought our
housekeeping.
brooms.
Did you bring your dust
Vacuum
mop or
cleaners.
anything?
I got my little French maid costume.
Okay, that was
Okay,
too much
fine.
information.
I brought a broom.
I thought that one there.
Do we have a motion to approve that
I'll make a
amendment?
motion to approve the amended contract agreement,
The Tyler amendment?
Tyler amendment,
Okay.
executive time.
Support.
Motion by Gene, second by Ty. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Move on to citizens input. Anybody out there in Zoom land have anything they'd like to bring before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Ty,
Second.
second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.
You guys all saw at the meeting, they're having another